Doing spinal rotation and thoracic extension. So come and lie on your backs. Okay, so let's start with our connection, our posture and our breath. Everyone hear me okay? Yep. Okay, so feet hip distance apart. So we want to feel connected underneath both feet, underneath the lumbosacral junction, the TL junction, both shoulder blades and the back of the head. So we'll start with our feet and we'll do a few just corrections to try and get better connected. So we're just going to shift the weight from side to side because we want to feel balance. So left and right foot should be feeling equal amount of pressure. So shift the weight from side to side until you feel like you've got better connection between the right and left foot. And then think about where that pressure is on the foot. Is it on the outside or the inside of the foot? So if you're feeling it more on the outside, we're going to try and keep the weight on the outside but pull the inside of the foot down towards the floor. And then if the weight is on the inside, we're going to do the same. We're going to try and keep the weight on the inside but then pull the outside down towards the floor. So we're keeping the ankle neutral. Okay, so once we've sorted the feet out, we'll work our way up towards the lumbosacral junction. And we're going to just start to peel the spine away from the floor, take the pelvis into an anterior tilt, so forward tilted, and then we're going to reverse peel. So lowering the spine towards the floor and going into a posterior pelvic tilt. Peel the spine away from the floor into anterior, reverse peel into posterior, anterior, posterior. So just going between the two movements. And then you want to just pause in the midpoint between the two end ranges. So your lower back should feel flat on the floor, it shouldn't be caved in and it shouldn't be lifted away from the floor. You shouldn't be able to get your hands underneath your back. So then we're going to work on our TL junction, so the junction between your upper back and lower back. So we're going to try and imagine that we've got our ribs in our pelvis like the pages of a book. We want to pull the pages closed so that they're not open, so then we don't want to be in a rib flared and lumbar extension appearance. So we're going to pull the pages shut to try and bring the pelvis and rib cage parallel to each other so that your diaphragm and your pelvic floor can talk to each other properly. So you should now be feeling a better connection underneath your lumbosacral and your TL junction. Okay, so then we're going to go to the shoulder blades and we're just going to again shift the weight from side to side because again we want to be nice and balanced between the left and right shoulder blade. And the shoulders themselves, we don't want to be the shoulders elevated towards the ears and in this anterior position. So we're going to try and pull them back and down into external rotation and depression, and then slight retraction so they're not pushed forwards. But we don't want to pinch the shoulder blades together. Okay, so your shoulders should be in a more neutral position now. And then the back of the head wants to push straight back down towards the floor. So we're activating the muscles at the front of the neck without going into neck extension or neck flexion. So pushing straight back down. Okay, so now we've got our connection. We're going to put one hand on the chest and one hand on the tummy. And we're going to just get the breath in the right order first of all. So just focusing on your breath and focusing on lifting the hand on the tummy with the breath in. And lowering the hand on the tummy as we breathe out. Hand on the chest doesn't want to move anywhere, that stays completely still. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, through pursed lips. Imagine that you're blowing through a straw. Try and clear your mind of any worries or concerns that you've had throughout the week. So we're just switching our brain off everything else and onto our breathing. Okay, so if you feel like your breath's in the right order, grab hold of your waist and we're going to create our 360-degree breath now. So as we breathe in, we want to feel all the muscles underneath the hands, front, back and sides, expand and try and push the hands away equally. So if you're struggling to find those muscles or activate them, if you just cough, feel the muscles expand under your hands, and you should feel that the whole way around, and use that as a bit of a wake up for your brain to let your brain know where your muscles are, and then breathe and expand. So if you're struggling on one side more than the other, or if you're struggling front to back, just grab hold of the bit that you're struggling with, give it a poke, give it a prod, cough again, and then breathe and expand. We're creating a nice smooth cylinder in the abdomen, so it wants to be equal and smooth, and it doesn't want to be like one bit activating first, then another bit, so it wants to happen at the same time. Okay, so now we've got the 360 breath, we're going to work on the brace. So the brace is not a clench or a tense, and you don't want to suck your belly button in. It's an outward push, so you're going to create that feeling like when you're about to fart. So we're going to create 360-degree breath. And then before we take the breath out, do an outward expansion, an outward push like we're about to fart. And then breathe out, try and keep the muscles active as you're breathing out. So we're brace breathing at the moment, which is really important when you're doing things that need more stability. Couple more breaths. Think about your pelvic floor as well, so as you're breathing in, think about your pelvic floor shifting towards your feet and relaxing on the breath out. Okay, so we're going to start the flow, so we're going to put the hands to either side, palms facing up, shoulders at around 45 degrees, bring your knees together, feet together, and we're just going to do some nice gentle spinal rotation, so dropping the knees to one side and then head looking in the opposite direction. And then as we want to pull the knees back up, we're going to use these muscles in the abdominal wall. So we don't just want to fling the legs back. We're going to try and bring that rib cage on the opposite side down towards the floor, using these oblique muscles here to pull the knees up towards the ceiling, and then drop down in the opposite direction and the head goes the other way. So again, we're going to use these muscles in the abdominal wall, the oblique muscles, to pull the rib cage down towards the floor and then the knees back to the ceiling. Okay, so now we're just going to alternate from side to side in your own time, feeling that rotation in the spine. So make sure you take your head in the opposite direction to what the knees are going, so we get that full spinal rotation. Do one more each side. Okay, bring the feet apart again so they're hip distance apart. Just going to do some alternating single leg lifts. So lift one leg and then lift the other leg. Alternating from side to side, making sure that this movement is just coming from the hip, not the lower back and pelvis. So focus on your breath as you're doing it, so just breathing in and out. And then we're going to go into a double leg lift. So create your breath, create your brace, and lift. And lower. And lift. And lower. Try not to let the pelvis kick forwards as you're lifting your legs, so we're creating this 360 breath and brace, so we're controlling the pelvis, and this movement is just coming from the hips. Just do one more and then keep the legs up in the air in your 3-month supine position. Feet higher than the knees, ankles and feet neutral, knees over the hips, hips in external rotation. Put your hands down by your sides again, palms facing up, and we're just going to rotate the spine and the knees in one direction, look the other way, keeping the knees separate, and then again pulling the ribs down towards the floor to bring the knees back, and then you're going to go the opposite way. So controlling this movement and then pull it back. And the opposite way. Again, feel that rotation in the spine. One more each side. back into the 3-month supine. Fingertips up to the sky. Lift the head slightly. And we're just going to roll, but this time we're taking the shoulders and the pelvis at the same time. Nice and controlled, side to side. So look the direction that you're rolling. Use the top hands like you're grasping for something. Make sure that when you roll onto your side, you get stacked up on top of your shoulder, so you're not this shoulder forwards position. And make sure your spine's nice and straight. We've not got a banana spine. Pelvis and rib cage move at the same time. So we're not disconnecting the spine. And then we're just going to roll onto one side. Okay. Arm out. Get stacked up on that shoulder. Get your pillow underneath your head. And then try and keep, don't let the spine banana, so we're going to keep this gap. Hips at 45 degrees. And then start with the top hand a bit further forwards than the bottom hand. Palms facing each other. And then we're just going to pull the hand across the arm and the body and over to the opposite side and look the other way, and then bring the arm above the head and rotate back. Hand, top hand further forwards than the bottom hand. Pull that hand across the arm and the body to the opposite side. Look the same way as your hands go in. Bring your arm up and round. Let's do 5 of these on each side, so we've got 3 more to do. Or if you get done before me, just keep on going. I've got 1 more left to do. Okay, once you've done, we're going to roll back onto our back, roll onto the other side, and do the same. So 5 on this side. So get your hips at 45, spine nice and straight, top hand further forward than the other hand, and we're just going to pull the top hand over the arm, across the body, and down the opposite way. Bring the arm up and round, and you'll probably feel it stretch in the chest. So do 5 of those. I've got 2 more to do. Again, if you get done before me, just carry on until I'm done. I'm just going to roll onto my other side now, because we're going to do some lower oblique zip twists, so that I'm facing you. Right, so come up onto your lower oblique zip. So, and then I just want you to twist into it. So both hands on the floor, and just feel that rotation in the spine. I'm just going to hold this position. Try and push the forearms down into the floor, keep the shoulders active. Try not to let the upper back round though, because this is all about rotation and spinal and thoracic extension. So we're going to try and pull the upper back down towards the floor as well, so we're not rounded into upper back flexion. So feel the breath. And then come up into the high oblique twist. So both hands down on the floor and just feeling that rotation in the spine. Nice and long through the upper back. Shoulders active. Keep the ribs and pelvis connected. Try not to round again through into the upper back, so pulling that down into extension, so nice long spine. And then we're going to come up into the oblique zip. Twist the knees up to the sky. Nice long upper back and spine. Take one leg straight. And then you're going to turn into the leg that's bent. Hand flat on the floor at the back. And then try and just pull the knee with the opposite arm, so you can create more rotation in the spine. Again, try not to round the back, so you can try and be nice and long and tall in the spine. Okay, pull one leg back and drop the other leg. And we're just going to rotate round the opposite way. Pull the other leg back in and then rotate round to the other direction into your high oblique twists. So both hands flat on the floor, shoulders active, long neck, long upper back. Focusing on your breath. So think about your 360-degree breath. And down onto both forearms. And really try and feel that rotation. So shoulders active, nice long through the upper back. Don't let yourself round or shrug your shoulders. Breathe 360 degrees, and then on the breath out, just try and lengthen through your back a little bit more. Couple more breaths. And then push up into your high oblique zip and turn around. Hand down onto the floor, lift your bum, bring that leg round into tripod. And the aim of this tripod now is to get out of this flexion position. We're going to try and pull the upper back down into extension. And just focusing on the breath. Try not to let your leading leg be too narrow, because if you're too narrow with the leading leg, that doesn't give the hip enough space to be able to create the amount of flexion you need in the hip to get the upper back down into extension. So nice wide feet. And then we're just going to rotate up to the sky with one hand. So rotating into that front leg and then back down. And we're just going to rotate round, so up and down. Up and down. Each time you're coming down, try and make sure you come into that extension in the upper back. Do one more like this, and then if you can, curl the back foot under. So my glutes really starting to work, I can feel that a lot now, but if you can manage it, you're going to lift up the back knee, and we're going to rotate up to the ceiling. So challenging your stability a little bit more. Again, when you're coming down, make sure you try and get that thoracic extension. So you'll be able to only do a few of these, and we'll just do one more, and then down. Lower the back knee, and then what we want to do is we're going to come up into a high kneel. Keep the pelvis level with the floor, and then just come up with the arm into the sky. So you're dropping one hand down, and then back up. Both hands forwards, and then round, and both hands forwards, round, both hands forwards, trying to make sure that we're nice and long through the upper back as well. Do one more. So stay in your high kneel, and we're just going to put whichever hand is the same side as the leading leg, grab hold of the inside of the leading leg and rotate the opposite way around. So the fingertips of the other hand going in the other direction. And use that leading hand to resist and create more rotation. Come back into the middle and then go the opposite way. So grab the other hand, put it on the outside of the knee and rotate the other way around. Focus on your breath. Come back into the middle. And we're going to go into a stand. And then as you lower, we'll rotate. So foot not too narrow, foot out to the side. Knee tracking second and third toe. Pelvis level with the floor. Neutral lower back. Curl the back foot under, lean forwards and stand. Take that other leg back. Slowly lower down, making sure the pelvis stays level. Rotate one way and then the opposite way. Stand back up. Again, let's do 5 of these. Woo. Or if you're going a little bit faster, and you want to just carry on if I've not finished, that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to do 5 of them. So I've got 1 more to do. Has everyone done their 5, or does anyone need more time? You're good? Okay, so put that hand down to the floor again, so the opposite side to the leading leg, the hand will go down. And then we're going to bring that front leg back into your oblique sit. So, yeah, lovely. Rotate the knees round, so up to the ceiling. And then to the opposite direction, put the other hand down, lift and come round into your tripod again. And we're going to work on thoracic extension again. So make sure the foot's not too narrow. And we're trying to pull that upper back down towards the floor. So focus on your breath. And then with the breath out, we're just going to try and sink towards the floor with the upper back again. Try not to let your upper back round, so pulling down. And then we're going to rotate up to the ceiling. And then down. And up. Down. So in your own time, just rotate up and down. Lengthening through the upper back on the way down. And then if you can, curl the back foot under, lift that back knee and then rotate. So just do a few of these. Okay, come up into your high knee up. And we're going to go from arms outstretched, rotate down, so hands touching the floor, back up, hands outstretched, down to the floor. Do 1 more. Then we're gonna, I'll stay here. Take the opposite hand to the knee that's forwards. Grab hold of the knee on the outside of the knee and twist round. Focus on your breath. With the exhalation, try and get a little bit further round if you can. Twist back round, so grab hold of the inside of the knee with the other hand, and then rotate round with the opposite hand. Sorry, just someone was trying to call me then. So keep the pelvis level with the floor, foot not too narrow, neutral spine. Okay, and then we're going to stand and then twist as we lower. So curl the back foot under, lift, stand, ooh, lower down, nice and slow, twist. Again, we're going to do, well, I'm going to do 5, so you just go in your own time. Losing our balance tonight. I've got one more to do. Okay. Hands down, so when you've done your last one, hands down into tripod. Pull that front leg back into bear. Down into quadruped, then into low quadruped. Okay, so this is all about thoracic extension. So we're going to find neutral, activate through the shoulders, neck nice and long, and then we're just going to work on pulling the upper back towards the floor without losing it into lumbar extension. So keep that neutral spine and just focus on your breath in this position. Try and pull the upper back a little bit further to the floor on the exhalation. You feel it mobilising through the upper back. Couple more breaths in this position. Turn the forearms so they're parallel with each other, and then we're just going to extend one elbow, rotate the spine, look up towards the ceiling, and then bend the elbow, lower back down, and then do the opposite side. And down. So in your own time, just lifting and lowering. Opposite elbows. Look up to the ceiling as well, so you're getting that full rotation. Do a couple more, so do one more each side. And then come up into your quadruped position. Again, we want neutral lower back, upper back nice and flat and long towards the floor. Hands spread, fingers spread wide. Whole hand connecting with the floor, and we're just going to focus on that thoracic extension, so we're just pulling the upper back towards the floor without letting the shoulders collapse, so we're pushing the floor away with the hands but without rounding into the upper back. Feel that mobilisation through the upper back. Now hinge the hips backwards, keeping that thoracic extension. And back forwards, again keeping that extension through the upper back. So backwards and forwards. One more. And then we're going to thread the needle. So one arm up to the ceiling, and then through underneath the body. And up. And through underneath the body. Do one more after this. Do the opposite side, so you're going to take the opposite arm up and then through. Do one more. Okay. Back into quadruped, find your neutral, upper back, pull towards the floor, so long spine, hands pushing into the floor, and then we're just going to lift the bum into the air, knees off the floor, keeping that pelvis level, neutral spine, neutral pelvis. And we're just going to work on, hold that position and try and pull the upper back towards the floor. So we're keeping that thoracic extension. And we're just holding this and focusing on the breath. Don't let yourself round. So pull that upper back down. Push the floor away with the hands. Keep the shoulders active. Lower down, give your legs a little shake off, give your arms a little shake off. Find your neutral. Okay, and then we're going to lift the bum in the air again, into bear. Shift the weight into one hand and one leg and just rotate one hand up to the sky. And just hold that position. Or you can do what Lion's doing, bringing the hand down and rotating up. Okay, I'm just going to hold that position. Then do the opposite side. Come back down, give your legs a rest, arms a little shake off. Again, find your neutral before you start. Upper back nice and long, curl the back feet under, create your 360 breath and your brace. Lift the bum in the air, hinge backwards, trying to keep long through the back, into your squat. And then we're just going to keep one hand on the floor, or on the foot, and then pressing into the opposite, into the same side knee on the inside, and rotate up to the ceiling. And then bring that hand down and go the other way. And then down and stand. Just going to do some squats. So feet comfortable distance apart, neutral spine. Make sure your upper back's nice and long as we squat down. Trying not to just round into that upper back, so keeping long through the upper back. And then back up. Neutral. So just in your own time, we're going up and down. Just as low as you can with really nice long upper back without going into that lumbar extension. Try not to, when you go into the initial part of the squat, don't let your pelvis tilt forwards, because then you're just going to round as you come down. And don't round as well as you come down. And then when you're coming out of the squat, you don't want to stick the bum out and come into extension. So, neutral spine, throughout, upper back nice and long. Just do one more. And then we're just going to stand, feet hip distance apart. Try and keep the pelvis forwards. And you're just going to rotate round one way. And then rotate round the other. So try and push the hand to the opposite side of wherever you are. Trying to keep the pelvis forward so the rotation's happening in the spine. I'm just using my hand, opposite hand, to stabilise so I don't rotate round. And to give me a little bit of resistance as well.